Yes, and welcome back to the Ash Williams Show. My name is Ash Williams, and I am fired up. How the fuck are you? Beautiful. On this episode, we have Nathan Cavalieri, whatever his name is. You last saw him on Hey Hey at Saturday. He's now 50 years old, and he's playing this introduction. Take it away, Nathan. Fantastic. He's still got it. Remember watching Nathan on Red Faces when he was 7. Now he's 50. Nathan Cavalieri. Or Cavalieri. How the fuck are you? Hope you're well. We've got a big show coming up. I want to thank all the new listeners and Patreons. Our numbers are rising like an excited patron at tens and dudes. So kudos to you guys. Let's start the show with a simultaneous sip. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it on video. That's exactly what YouTube is, if you don't know. In 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Is anyone drinking their cup of cum? There's an old reference. And I've got a story for you. Maybe I'll tell that story. I'm going to tell it on a Patreon, a triple X version of Patreon story involving a cup of cum. Fuck, man. We've got to firewall that shit. Now, last episode, I spoke about the mystery of Splendor in the grass. And I told you if you wanted to know, I would call you, okay? But you do need to be a Patreon. We've got Peter Lead, who is an old school Patreon. We're going to call Pete and tell him the answer right now on the hotline. Let's hope he answers. Jeez, I've had a bit of Makona. Woo-hoo. Let's go, Pete. I've never spoken to Pete before. Come on, Petey. Let's go.
Hello.
Pete.
Hey, mate. How you going?
How are you, Ledge?
What's going on?
Mate, not much, bro. Just calling you back, man.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Mate, thanks again for all your support, mate. You've been prolific for a long time.
No, that's all right. Someone's got to be. Yeah, you've got a few. You've got heaps. You've got heaps of fans now. How's the Patreon going?
Oh, mate, we're getting there. You know, like you were like,
You're on 100 yet?
Yeah, we're on 123.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, bro. But you were always like my Patreon coach. You were sending me stuff. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. So we're getting there, man.
It's all about spamming and stuff, the content.
100%.
That's what it's about.
And that's it, bro. And that's why I'm calling. You know, you want to know who the 2 celebrities were at Splendor in the grass.
Splendor.
Now, Pete, do you remember the story?
I do.
Can you retell it?
All right, put you on hold.
I thought that was like introduction music for the Splendor story.
I do remember it vaguely because last time I heard it was a live team effort, I think, and that was, there was two celebrities, both guys.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
In a ditch in the bushes and Splendor in the grass.
Yeah, and what were they doing?
Well, they were having a root one day.
Yeah.
So it was 2, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's 2 celebrities. So look, you've retold the story beautifully and succinctly, which I like. So anyone who doesn't know that story, if you do want the answer, you've got to be a Patreon member and I'll call you. And that's exactly what I'm doing now with Pete. So Pete, the answer is he was on
Yep.
And
interesting. I can say, honestly, they're 2 celebrities I've never heard of.
Well, this is it. They are celebrities. Definitely. If you Google them.
Not in my cup of tea.
No, they're not. No, I don't know if they're many people's cups of tea, but they've had careers and clearly they've enjoyed each other's careers, if you know what I mean.
Funny. Good stuff, Ash.
All right, Pete. Well, thanks again, mate. And yeah, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Appreciate all your support.
All the best. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Pete. Cheers, Ledge. If you want to know the answer, it's patreon.com/Ash Williams Show. I'll call you back. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to keep moving. We've got a lot to get to. The cull on Insta is going superbly. We're from 1800 to 1550. All right, so yeah, trust the process. The cull will continue. We're going to strip it right back to probably about 1200. And yeah. The only way to survive is to either make noise, be a Patreon member, or be original cap 500. Or if you message me saying, you know, you've got to look after your kid or some shit, I'll probably let you stay. Like a guy from Brisbane did. He said he's too busy to look at Instagram because he's got to look after his 3 kids. So I gave him immunity. So yeah, he just messaged me. We got a lot coming up because, of course, Cap 500 is Sparta. Okay? And I haven't seen the movie 300, so I don't even know if I'm getting that reference right. But I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to a reference from something I know nothing about. Lean into it. Deliver it confidently, and no one will question you. This is Sparta. Now, I want to get to some messages that I've been getting on Facebook. This is very, very funny as far as I'm concerned. So a byproduct of COVID-19 is end of March, I opened the floodgates on Facebook. And people who added me as a friend on Facebook got in. There was a guy who'd been waiting, I think it was 9 years. He got in. I met him in a gay bar, and he's one of the biggest pervs I've ever met. Took him 9 years to get in, right? And I just let everyone in. And I let this woman called Carol in as well. And Carol had been waiting for about 3 years. So Carol gets in. I get a message from Kaz, as she calls herself. This is what I got. I had a shock when you accepted my friend request because I sent it over 3 years ago, lol. But it was a nice surprise just the same. What have you been up to during lockdown? I wrote back, yes, Kaz, nice to connect finally. I've just been working on podcasts and keeping out of trouble. Kaz writes, I'm glad you're keeping out of trouble. But trouble is sometimes fun, isn't it? I wrote back, yes, trouble is sometimes fun. Winky face. Okay, now we've got a date, okay, 8th of April. These dates are important. Kaz writes, well, I hope we can become friends during this isolation period. Didn't write back. 12th of April. Ash, I hope I didn't say anything wrong. I wrote back, not at all. Just been busy. Happy Easter, by the way. She writes, Happy Easter too. By the way, being busy is good, but remember, you need to relax as well. Didn't write back to that. 17th of April. Ash, how are you going? Didn't write back. 19th of April. Ash, I'm not sure why you accepted my friend request if you don't want to chat and be friends. Friends are meant to chat, or there is no friendship. I responded, hey, Kaz, sorry, I've been very busy with my podcast and have barely been on Facebook. Nothing personal. I'll try and respond more. By the way, have we met in person? Carol. Thanks, Ash. I know you're busy with your podcasts, but I'm a straight shooter. And I don't have friends for the numbers game. No, we haven't met before, but I have seen you out and about 5 years ago. Have a great day. 5 days later, weirdly enough, she writes, hi, Ash, hope you're well. If you ever want to chat, here's my number. And I responded, too easy, Carol. Hope you're well. Now, the question is, do I call Kaz? I think I'm going to. I think we have to for the pod. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to do this next week. And we all know Carol is going to murder me. We know that. All right. But it would be silly to not at least get some podcast content out of my impending murder. All right. It's actually a nice way to go. It ties off the podcast, and we might even win an award. And that would be nice, a posthumous podcast award and the pod award for best episode. Anyway, I went through Carol's Facebook photos and I found some disturbing pics. She actually looks like, if you've seen the movie Catfish, she's what the real woman looks like. So she's about 55, and every photo looks like it's been taken by Shane Monopoly from Exclusive Photography. Do you remember those infomercials on Good Morning Australia? And that guy with a leather jacket would come on and talk to Bert Newton, and he'd go, "G'day, Bert, how are you?" And they had that jingle. It was like, "We'll make you look like a movie star. It doesn't matter who you are. Put your faith and trust in me. Come into Exclusive Photography." It should have actually been like, "We'll make you look like a murderer. It doesn't matter who you are. Put your faith and trust in me. Come and see Exclusive Photography. We'll make you look like a murderer." Because that's what they do. You look like a murderer. My mum's actually got those photos. Maybe that's what it reminds me of. The question is, we're gonna put the poll out on our socials and Patreon. Should I call Carol? Okay, I think it's a yes. Everything we stand for is about calling Carol. Now, I want to move swiftly into a fight I saw during the week, and it was two unsuspecting animals, and I couldn't take my eyes off it. You know, obviously with no sport, we're bereft of contests. And I looked up on a light pole about 3 days ago and I saw one of the greatest duels I've ever seen. It was a kookaburra versus a crow. And it was quite a big crow. Who do you think won? The kookaburra. Yep. Yeah, the kookaburra won. And took my breath away because I thought the crow was going to win and I was the only one watching it. And then this other guy came behind me with his shopping and he saw the fight and he was like, "How good's this?" I'm like, "Mate, I know. This should be on fucking pay-per-view. Somebody call Main Event." Could you imagine the money you would make if you backed the kookaburra? I mean, the crow would have been the shortest favourite of all time. But I really respected what the kookaburra did. He didn't move. And he had a longer snout than the crow. And he kept showing the snout. I tried to get a photo but then as I went to get a photo, the crow flew off. And the guy behind me said, "You missed it." And I said, "Yeah, well, you're my witness." Okay, so it was a great fight. If you ever want to have some fun, you put a crow and a kookaburra together and get your money on the kookaburra. You know? Not just a pretty bird. Now, speaking of fun things to do, if you're looking to impress people, here's something you can do during Corona. We're about to get to your calls as well, if you're hanging out for that. I cross at a set of traffic lights every day, and I know the rhythms of it really well. So I know when it's going to turn green, and I cross as it's turning green, right? And I've been getting a lot of looks. People are impressed. They're like, "How did he know that?" People are looking at me like I'm Jesus. You know, it was like I was walking on water. And in many ways I was. In many ways I was. But an even more fun trick to do is to look at the person next to you and then walk. Okay, and time it well. I did it the other day to a gentleman who was straight, and he was so impressed. I'm pretty sure he wanted to give me a blowjob because I looked at him. It's kind of like Paul Walker, the eyeball trick that he does in Fast and Furious to the girl, and he looks at her. Okay, I'm doing this on YouTube, and he's looking at her like that, and takes off and goes like 200 k's an hour, and then stops at the red lights without even looking at the road. And the chick falls in love with him. That's what I did at the traffic lights. So if you have a set of traffic lights near you, get to know the machinations of the rhythm, and then impress people. Okay? You probably want to be single though, because a lot of people are going to want to jump you, or they're going to think you Jesus. It's a good way to start a cult. We got a message here from @PreciousRobbie. Good shit lately, mate. The pods are back to their best, even if you're getting ahead of yourself with your shout-out, Sizzle. Shout out. The free shout-out. Fire it up. Fire up. Thank you very much, Precious Robbie. You're the Roger Ebert of podcast reviews. Your opinion means the world, and we are officially back. We are officially back. Strap yourselves in, folks. We've got a big, I was going to say a couple of months. I think we got a big year. We're coming hard, yeah? We are coming real hard. That's what she said. That's what he said, blah, blah. Now, I've got another message here. Now, this is a weird one. I got this morning, and it was a DM, and it's regarding the Instagram cull. And it says, firstly, let it be known that I am fired up and an active member of the Ash Williams Show community. But I do feel undervalued. It's come to my attention that my subscription to your page is becoming increasingly fragile due to the cap 500. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for the cap. However, I want your assurance of my position within the cap. This is my overarching demand. My acquaintances and I have a few simple demands, and they are as follows. You pay us $500, at least 5 foot pics, and guarantee a privileged position within the cap and community. Please be aware, my colleagues and I are currently both Patreons and have multiple accounts within the cap. If our conditions are not met, we will not hesitate to expose who bought the $4 worth of petrol and packet of dingers to the world. Please consider how detrimental this will be to your Patreon and your career. You have 1 week before we leak the info. I'm fired up. Anonymous. We'll talk, Anon. I like the message. Let's negotiate. Okay, I can definitely give you a privileged position within the cap, but I won't be pushed into a corner. Anon. We'll talk. We'll try and come to an agreement. If we can't, then we'll try and come to another agreement. Okay, let's try and work this out. I love the message. I love how fired up you are. And if you are indeed a Patreon member, thanks for your support. Just on paying people, I want to give a shout out to Nim Napier. I just did an Instagram live, and Nim is a 16-year-old girl who I've owed $5 to for 3 years. She's now 19, and her mum wrote to me 3 years ago and said, pay my daughter or we'll go to a current affair. And I never paid her the $5, but guess what, Nim? You're getting the $5. Bang. Free shout out. Shout out. For Nim Napier, $5. Fire up. Yeah, I like it. DM me your address and you get the $5. I'll even throw in a mug because you've been waiting for a long time. We've got another message here. God, we've got a lot on this show. But I got this too. I'm getting lots of extortion emails. Got this message from Matt. Dear Ash, you thieving prick. My missus paid you $35 for a Gooch t-shirt on the 12th of March, which we have still not received. Is this another coffee mug situation, or are you fair dinkum? In any event, I propose I'm just getting extortion emails now. That's all this show is. I propose we resolve the matter as follows. You send us the t-shirt, and I'll come on board the Ash Williams Show as in-house counsel, pro bono, of course. Failing your acquiescence, I know this word tickles your fancy, we'll be left with no other option but to take civil action against you and alert the regulators of the ACCC law, which may lead to penalties higher than the value of the t-shirt. Always fired up, especially when someone owes me a t-shirt. Matt, I wrote back to Matt within like 30 seconds. Afternoon, Matt. You sure are fired up. I enjoyed the message and it made me laugh. I hope the promptness of my reply shows that your matter is my top priority. The Gooch shirts finally arrived after a COVID-19 delay. Supply channels, etc. The Gooch shirts will be mailed on Monday. This is easily the most legal letter we've ever received, and you'd be a welcome addition to our in-house counsel. P.S. Are you a lawyer? And to which he responded, Ash, I am a lawyer and would be interested in coming on board. Blah, blah, blah. And there's more to that. So look, t-shirt has been mailed, Matt. All right. The Gooch t-shirts are here. If you want them, order them. You get a free Gooch t-shirt if you're one of the tiers on Patreon. Otherwise, you get free mugs. The Gooch t-shirts too, they are, of course, a Gucci collaboration with Chris Guccione, the tennis player. So I'm trying to get one of those t-shirts to the Gooch. John Millman, Australian tennis player, has agreed to wear one, so we're sending one to Millmania. We are going to get your texts and calls.
Hey there. Have you got an idea for a podcast but don't know where to start? Let us help you with our individualised training to assist you in writing, producing and marketing your podcast. Take advantage of our introductory offer by registering at podcastsolutions.com.au. Classes start weekly and are currently being offered online. So get in touch to bring your idea to life. podcastsolutions.com.au.
And then we're going to jump on Instagram and stream this bad boy to Ride at Home. You should pitch Tens and Dudes to YouPorn or reach out to a porn production company. Now, I'm going to do this too. This goes on the list. We're going to try and sell Tens and Dudes to, RedTube or Pornhub. It's a fucking Tens and Dudes. Imagine that as a category. That's a category on bloody Pornhub. Love that. That's a wonderful idea. Who sent me that? It's a wonderful idea. Thank you very much for the input. If we get money, you get commission. Another text. Mate, been thinking about you and your job seeker, job keeper problem. If you sell foot pics online, does that classify you as a sole trader? Bang! Nice one, bro. I like it. We do have foot pics, by the way, on Patreon. Only one subscriber at the moment who lives in the UK, and he is loving it. There's actually a wonderful foot pic I took with Andrew Cuomo, the CNN reporter. It's quite funny. Maybe I'll share that. Boom, boom, boom. We've got people wanting to find out who the girl was in the Ash and Ed episode. I can't tell you that. But look, the Patreon episode that just went up with the second one with Ash and Ed and Georgia is all time. Because if you listen to that, there's a part of that I will be using as the nucleus of a new stand-up show. There's 5 minutes in there that's basically I'm just going to cut it out and go boom to stage. And I'm pumped about that. Very, very excited. So listen to that episode. I think it's called, what was it called? Oh, the wife on the cruise ship one. Oh, here we go. Ash, I'm a big fan. You are the funniest and most interesting person. When this whole C19 thing settles down, how about a drink and a kid's meal? Are you in Sydney or Melbourne? I'm beep on Instagram. Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. I'll go out with you for sure. Even if you're Carol. Your name is very similar to Carol, to be fair. I will write back to that message. Okay, so now we're going to go for a stream on Insta. I know this is probably not great podcast listening as I talk to Instagram Live, but we are attempting something, the equivalent of landing on the moon. And of course, next episode, we do have a lot of calls to get to and tie up some loose ends. Of course, we've got to get Tiff Hall on the phone. We want some Gladiator scoop. I think we did get a text about a dude who is obsessed with Gladiator. He just won't let it go. So I promised him some Gladiator scoop about Vulcan or Mike Hammond or Flame or Storm. I wonder how Storm's going. God, she was beautiful. We're also going to call Paulie Shaw and Phantom of the Opera star Michael Cormick and talk more about Tens and Dudes. We're going to call Bojan. People want ducks. They sure do. Here we go. I'm going to round out the pod. Got a brand new episode too dropping tonight with a very old school friend of mine who was a producer on the Footy Show and is now a life coach. We spoke at length.
I wake up with Ash Williams. I'm fired up. How the fuck are you?
Oh, boom. That's how you answer the phone. James Crow, how the fuck are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
Very good, very good. Now, mate, the people on Instagram can't hear you, so this is terrible for them. They're going to have to...
It's poor content for them.
It's poor content for them, but look, it is free. Now, tell me, how's the beer pong business going? Because I believe you've had some teething issues.
We did have some teething issues, but we're back to firing on all cylinders.
Yep.
The website is somewhat live. It works, but the rules are outdated. So we are currently updating the rules, showing off, getting a few demo pics of how people need to be setting up their cameras and shots.
Yep.
And then beyond that, it will be live. People will be able to start submitting their teams.
Cool.
And then it'll all be systems go within the next 72 hours.
Okay, bud. Give us a website.
www.beerbongsandblowouts.com.
Beerbongsandblowouts.com.
.com. That's the one.
Now, is it AND or ampersand?
AND.
It's a long website domain.
It's very lengthy. It is a bit of a wordful as far as websites go, especially sort of from a marketing standpoint, as you'd know, with your marketing degree. But, sometimes you got to shake things up a little.
Yeah, you absolutely do, Bojan. So, look, get on there, beerbongsandblowouts.com.au. And,
no, just .com.
Just .com. It's even more confusing. Okay, so it's just .com.
It's more confusing. It's an Australian-only competition, although it is international, but there is no .au. It really is all over the shop.
Okay, so I'm just going to retell that we've lost a lot of viewers, I tell you, on Instagram. It's really died in the arse here. No, it's not good. But someone's just commented saying terrible domain. So no offense there. No, hey, Bojan, we'll help you out. It's all good. All right, bud, keep us updated. Keep phoning in. I'm going to put on. I've got a Gooch tee that I'm about to put on Instagram. So if you want to see my nipples, for free,
that sort of goes without question.
Yeah. It's a free nipple show. I might even tickle myself, which is functionally impossible, but I'm going to give it a go. Get on the Instagram, and we'll talk to you in a sec. Okay.
That's fantastic, bud. Good to hear from you.
You too. See you, Bojan. See you, bro.
Make some noise.
MSN. Bye. All right. MSN. This is the Gooch tee. They're all in stock. If you want them, we've got all the sizes. And I'm going to now do a little strip show. Let's get some music going. The Wi-Fi is just so good. I mean, it would be a shame not to surf a bit more. Love that. We need to crank the volume on Whitetown by Your Woman. If you are listening to this on the podcast, we just did a live strip show, which by the time you hear the pod will be removed from the internet unless a few perverts have screen recorded them, which I respect. If you screen recorded that, then at least let me know and I'll show you my dick. This is the T-shirt. Fits well. Made by AS Colour. We're going to run out of these, I think. You'll also get a free T-shirt if you join Patreon at a certain tier, but otherwise go to ashwilliamshow.com.au/merchandise. Probably could make it easier to find the merch. Go to beerbongsandblowouts.com. That is, let's turn this shit off, because believe it or not, some people might listen to this podcast. We're going to have fucking Whitetown bleeding out the noise. That is the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And if you want bonus video or audio, go to patreon.com/Ash Williams Show. All the old Ash and Eds, the new Ash and Eds, and some other episodes with friends of mine, comedians, etc. It's all there. Thanks again for listening. This is The Ash Williams Show, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days. Take care. Bye-bye. The Ash Williams Show is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Due to coronavirus, there's no audience, so you can't hear the laughs.